survival games genre has saturated the gaming world for the better part of the last decade. The genre seems to be oversaturated with mediocre games, but when it is done right, it is absolutely fantastic. And here's where Days Gone comes in. Days Gone was absolutely torn apart by reviewers. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is the first time in a while that I could not disagree further with the reviewers. I mean, IGN has had a few disagreeable reviews, and we all know that, but this one is the first one that I'm absolutely appalled by. I absolutely love the game, and I think it is a diamond in the rough genre of zombie survival horror games. It's not a story comparable to Red Dead Redemption, but it's still a great story. I'll explain it in monkey mode to keep it short and simple. You play as Deacon, a biker gang member. Your wife is stabbed and sent on a chopper without you. 2 years later, you follow her trail in this new and beautiful apocalyptic world. That's about all I want to say. I really suggest you play the game without much info. I mean, there isn't much to the story. It's long, it's around 46 hours. It took me to finish the game, but I did do a lot of side stuff. But like, it's still decent, it's good. It keeps you captivated for the majority of it, and the ending is satisfying. Deacon and Booz are the two characters that have the most chemistry together. They basically get the most screen time. I'm probably wrong, but I've got a bias towards these two. To me, the game focuses on the brotherhood between these two, and it's stuck. The voices of these characters and their personalities seem to have mixed really well and produced a great performance from these two. There's a huge cast of characters that do an amazing job in this game, and they really help the world feel human and lived in. Deacon is a great protagonist. He's played by Sam Witwer, I think I'm pronouncing it right, who you'll recognize from the Star Wars The Force Unleashed, but this time he's not playing a depressed emo Jedi, but a pretty cool biker gang dude. There's not much to say. He does a great job conveying the character's emotions, and like, he keeps you invested, you feel for him, and etc. He's a pretty normal man, I guess. Nothing special, and I can't really put into words why I like him. I just do. And Booz is just the buddy that tagged along, the one that we all have, the one good friend that you've got that sticks around for everything and goes through hell and back for you, and I just absolutely love the two. The world is separated into 4 big-ass set pieces and are progressively opened up as you get further and further into the game. It's a well-crafted map that uses the surroundings and trees to make bike traversal interesting. Like, well, obviously it doesn't like dynamically change, but like there's trees and shit falling over roads that you have to take dirt paths, etc. It just mixes things up a bit. The world is filled with side activities, and to be honest, this is one of the few games that I got completely sidetracked with a lot of the side content, such as the hordes, the main advertising point of the game. The map also has a camp-based system where each section has its own camp that provides its character-based side quest. These side quests are the normal like Ubisoft camp upgrade quests where you do a job for the camp, and the more you do, the better gear you can buy. But what's different here is that some of these side quests have their own stories building on the respective camps. Like, imagine like some characters leave or get kicked out or whatever, and it explains the story throughout. And the camp upgrades, like the same as Ubisoft, but you get, like, your camp goes up in tiers and you get better weapons, and you can upgrade your bike, which is also a big part of the game. There's a ton of bike upgrades that you want. There are also some nests to clear that allow for fast travel around the map, and then there are hordes. The nests block main roads and pathways from one area to the next, but like in these 4 sections. So clearing them out, theoretically, like, Deacon can now pass through, and it's just to make it a bit more immersive, but it works. One of the main sort of criticisms I saw on like the IGN specific to my region is that the world feels bloated and too big for what it is, and I don't know, I didn't seem to have that problem. The world seemed just fine as it was. Like, yeah, I see some areas like the more sandy dust area you'll know when you play the game, or if you see it on YouTube or whatever, that could be a bit bland. But the rest of the world was pretty full of color. I get it rains too fucking much, I do know that. It rains an awful lot in the game, which could have been toned down, but I don't know if it was the PlayStation 4 hardware that caused problems or something, but like I never felt like the world was too bloated or too big. I actually thought they could have maybe added a bit more. I know the last area I could understand a bit of the bloated, well, the fourth area, not the last area. The fourth area could understand a bit of the bloatedness or whatever, but because it was just concluding some things, and the map might have been a bit like there's a huge water area, which you'll see if you get there or if you see a YouTube video about it, but which obviously you can't do much with that in a zombie game, so it just takes up dead weight, which could have had something nice. But otherwise, the rest of the map, I liked it. I didn't see any problem with it. I didn't see that it was too big or whatever, and the runtime is a bit long, but the world I didn't see much problem with. The gameplay is really fun. The gunplay is smooth and super enjoyable, and the bike traversal is fantastic. I have no complaints with the gunplay. It works well, and the developers decided to stick to the keep headshots the instant kill on enemies and on all difficulties, which makes the gunplay still feel great and not weak when playing through the game on high difficulties, like just the difficulty being that the enemies don't take one-shot headshots or just big health buffs, like raid bosses per each enemy that you have to kill. Like I said earlier, the bike traversal is fantastic. Fast traveling only because a thing I wanted to do when I was completing the game, as in extra side quests or collectibles that I had to pick up, then I'd like fast travel, but otherwise just driving it around, the majority of the time I just hopped on my bike and got going. It's just, the world is so great. I mean, I'm hyping it up a bit much, but it is still a pretty good world, and it's fun to drive around, and the bikes are extremely fun to ride around. And obviously you want to test out the new components or whatever, the upgrades that you bought and put on the bikes. The bike is the main thing that gets you from point A to point B. And another side piece of content that I mentioned earlier, the hordes, where you'll drive to and whatever and find these throughout you playing the game. And how I said earlier that it was one of the main advertising points, you saw it in all the trailers, the PlayStation trailers, whatever. But these hordes are probably the only side content that I would recommend, like, which is genuinely fun completing. Mowing down hordes as the game progresses with new guns and new traps and new whatever you get is just so rewarding. Like running down, spraying back at the enemies, and then seeing them run into your traps. And like in some of the horde locations, there's dynamic traps like exploding a side thing that causes these wood sticks to fall onto them, etc. It's just so enjoyable. It's so satisfying seeing the progress from when you have barely anything trying to take on a horde to where you actually figure out how to do stuff and how to clear the hordes as fast as possible. The hordes are also divided into the 4 different sections of the map and get progressively more difficult in their own ways as you progress and get to these new places. Like I'm pretty sure the earlier you are, the less are in the hordes, and as you progress the hordes are bigger and bigger and bigger. Just before I hop into the difficulties, I just want to talk about the zombies. I obviously just talked about them with the hordes, but the hordes and the zombies, like, I think I came off of playing Dying Light 2, so the zombies were pretty put in the backseat in that game, which I obviously didn't like because it's Dying Light, from Dying Light 1 to Dying Light 2. I don't know, I just like the more zombie focused bit, my opinion. But otherwise the zombies were great. They weren't too challenging, but nice variety of zombies, new special enemies, whatever. They aren't particularly difficult because of the one-shot thing, just they are difficult in hordes obviously, but you'll get to that. And also some in the open world, there's groups of them that might overrun you, but otherwise they're not too difficult. They're just like a one-shot in the head or whatever. But otherwise, like the guns you have, and it does get difficult, you'll have to figure out strategies to kill the bigger hordes and whatever, but they have a nice difficulty to them. And I think just in the newer difficulties they just hit harder, but you've got more health. Like if you do a new game plus, you've got more health and whatever, so it's not such a big issue, but they balanced out pretty well. I did my first playthrough on hard, which was fun and made the game hard enough so that I didn't just breeze through the game. But now that I've to play through the game on a difficulty called Survival 2, just to get some extra achievements that I need to 100% the game, some of the gameplay in the background was also done, well, I think all of it. I just think the hordes part was done in my hard playthrough, but this has been done in survival mode. If you want a true immersive playthrough, like a fully survival type playthrough, then survival is where it's at. It takes away the HUD entirely. You can only see your map and health when you use survival vision, which is needed to see the objectives and surroundings, but I think it's still a bit weird, but I'll allow it. Having no HUD really helps. The game is absolutely beautiful, and taking it away just really shows the love that I think was put into the environment. I might be a bit biased here. I don't know how other people feel about it. I just checked IGN's review and a couple other which said, like I said previously, it's a bit bloated or whatever, but I don't agree. I would recommend playing it through first round in something like hard or normal, whichever one you prefer. And if you're still skeptical about it, then you should just stick to it. But then if you finish the game and would want to play it again, maybe for some achievements, or you just like the game as much as I do, then I'd probably recommend doing it in Survival 1 or 2. Survival 1 you could probably do in a first playthrough, it's not that difficult, and Survival 2 just bumps up the slight difficulty changes, which isn't that much. So the choice is dependent on how difficult you want it. The difficulty is pretty well balanced. I liked it. Nothing too hard, nothing too easy, and it gave it an all-around fun experience. Now to end off the video. I didn't prepare anything here. Throughout the video I had a few little things in my notes app that I reminded on what to talk about. But this is completely not scripted, it's just my opinion that's running through my head right now. I honestly think that this game is fantastic. I think the reviews absolutely hammered it. I don't actually know if it was the PS4 version of it that brought it down so much, but I had so much fun, and for the price that it's at, obviously I live in a third world country now, so it's not in dollars, but I think it's around $15, $20, somewhere there, on special on Steam, because I played everything on my PC version. And like, it runs well. It ran extremely well on just a normal GTX 1070 that I had, and it's just an all-around fun experience. I came off of playing Dying Light 2, did not enjoy it that much. Like, I loved the parkour and whatever, but the story was not there, and the world was fantastic, but the world's people just felt empty. Whereas Days Gone, like, I don't know if it's for everyone. I think a lot of people enjoy it, and I would say it's like very close to a masterpiece in zombies survival, and like just the setting and everything works so well. But again, it's probably, if it's your type, like if you like Project Zomboid, if you like Dying Light 1, Dying Light 2, and stuff like that, I think you'd like it quite a lot. And I think that the reviewers were extremely harsh on how they reviewed it. I mean, as you can see, the Steam percentage is something like 97% on, if you like Google Days Gone review. Let me actually check that. So I just googled it. I googled Days Gone reviews. Ratings on IGN was 6.5 out of 10, 76% Metacritic, which isn't that bad, and 63% of PC Gamers. Obviously, there's a lot more websites where you could get reviews from, but where it really hits is that 94% of Google users like the video game. It's got a audience rating of 4.7 out of 5, which is fantastic, and 92% of Steam reviews are positive, which, I mean, not that many people can be wrong. Like, and obviously it's not the first time reviewers have been wrong about games and maybe giving a too high score, too low score, but in this case I think the game was not given a high enough score. I think it's definitely worth playing. I think it's 3 years later, and obviously 3, 4, it's going on 5 years later as I'm recording this, because it's 2023 now. Crazy, isn't it? But like, I think honestly, give it a shot. I think the game's good. The game's pretty dope. Hope you guys try it. I hope everyone likes it as much as I do. And thank you all for all the love on my channel. I'm trying something new. I wanted to see, because I absolutely love video games. All my manga reviews have video game gameplay in the background. I'd like to try it because I absolutely loved recording this, and it's a bit longer. Obviously, it's now bordering on 14 minutes of audio recording, so it is longer, and I'd like to see if you guys like it, and I guess we'll see how this goes. And I really appreciate all the support on my channel recently. It's gone, like, I've skyrocketed and I've been quiet. I know my PC broke and I've been to university. It's been all sort of thing, and I'll try and keep up. I'll try and start posting new stuff again, because obviously I can't do much if I just leave it be and not do anything. So I guess if you like the video, just like, maybe subscribe, you can comment, tell me how you feel about it. I'd like to know some other people's opinions, because I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. Anyways, I hope to see you guys around here sometime again.